Tourism accounts for about 7% of Africa's GDP and contributes over $170 billion to the continent's economy. Africa's travel and tourism sector employed more than 24 million people before COVID-19. But the pandemic took a massive bite out of these numbers. As the continent looks to recover, one of Africa's most popular tourist destinations is working hard to get back to pre-pandemic numbers. The Tourism Business Council of South Africa said the sector lost 470,000 jobs due to COVID-19, with only 37% of employees receiving 100% of their salaries in February 2022. Small, medium, and large tourism businesses were heavily affected, and informal tourism businesses experienced the most severe impact during the pandemic. Thakhuli is the acting head of communications for the South African National Parks, and he joins me now from Pretoria. Ray, welcome to Business Edge. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the time.
So when we look at the figures for how COVID-19 impacted the industry, the 2019 figures in terms of the businesses employed and even tourism numbers, we can see that the impact was quite devastating. But we're about 2 years away from the pandemic now. So what do we know and what do we see in terms of how those numbers are changing, translating to the people who are back into the industry or maybe haven't been able to find their footing, as well as the businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic brought quite a devastating picture in our country, and we believe that that has also happened in other parts of the world. However, we're quite fortunate that we are actually seeing the numbers coming back, and particularly, you know, domestic travelers, starting to visit our national parks and many other tourist attractions in the country. We're not where we're supposed to be, or where we were three years ago. Particularly, when you look at international visitors coming into the country. Our numbers are still very low as far as the international tourists are coming, but we're also seeing a number of businesses also picking up, because some of them, in actual fact, closed during the pandemic. You know, they were forced to close because there were limitations in terms of traveling. So we are actually looking at a better picture now.
All right, so let's talk about that better picture now. Would you say that the sector's recovery is underway? There was a report from the Bureau of Economic Research that shows the hospitality sector in South Africa is showing positive growth. So where is that growth coming from? Where are we seeing sort of this renewed hope for South Africa to be able to return to pre-pandemic numbers?
We're seeing that a lot from the domestic travelers. You know, we have seen the reports that the hospitality restaurants are doing quite well. So it does say people are now going out. Even the weather patterns, have actually improved. It's not that cold in South Africa. It's much warmer now. So we're actually seeing, people going out. We also have the much longer school holiday period in June. Now, today, as we speak, schools are closing again for a period of a week. So we are seeing quite a great, uptake now. People going into restaurants, people going into, this tourism facilities in South Africa. But like I say, internationals are still not there. We're seeing a very, very, a small number of internationals. They are definitely returning, but definitely it's a very, very small number. So we're thinking that events are also playing quite a critical role. We had a number of events that are coming back into the events calendar in South Africa, particularly from the month of September up until the month of January, February. So we are going to see quite a number of great events that are coming, and certainly we'll see great numbers going into those particular events.
So what I hear is that one of the challenges for the industry's recovery remains the fact that you need to continue to bring in more international visitors. I know South Africa is well noted for its tourism potential, not even potential, its tourism actuality. 20 million international visitors was the average before a pandemic struck. So what other challenges remain for the sector to overcome so that it can really make that recovery happen?
I think we want to actually push domestic travels, to ensure that even when we are hit by this kind of difficulties, you actually still see people, the locals, going into various places within the country. So it's really a matter of trying to making sure that, the locals, get to travel the country, get to know their country. So the campaigns that are being run into the country now is really to stimulate this market, because we know that it might take a little bit of time for the internationals to come. But really, is to stimulate the locals, is to come up with interesting packages. We have a tourism marketing, formation or structure in South Africa called SA Tourism, South African Tourism. So they're actually pushing a number of campaigns. We've got a campaign called a short left. So basically, you are taking a short left in area within the country itself. So we're building packages, we're building discounts. Even within our national park system, we're building discounts. We are building, a number of campaigns to ensure that the young people travel. We're ensuring that groups travel. We have a very big formation in South Africa called Stokvels, where people are actually putting money from the beginning of the year, and then at a later stage, they travel as a group. So we are actually giving discounts to those kind of groups and encouraging them to travel. So we've got quite a huge number of even provinces, various provinces, they are putting together packages for people to travel. So essentially, we want to start stimulating this local tourism. As you know, that charity begins at home.
Yes.
And then then we'll then start seeing the internationals also coming at a later stage.
All right, Ray, before I let you go, we can't talk about post-COVID without acknowledging the fact that the Russia-Ukraine crisis has added another layer of complexity and challenge to global recovery and even individual countries' recoveries. How has that exacerbated what the industry was trying to moving away from the COVID period?
Look, there's a lot of elements that are actually affecting us. The fuel increase is one of the biggest challenges that we are seeing in the country, which also put a hold in terms of people traveling. The food price increases has also contributed to this. So, but fortunately, we are seeing a lot of businesses opening. So therefore, it does sort of boost that the informal job sector. We've seen good numbers coming. We're not where we're supposed to be, but the local travel has actually assisted us quite a lot.
All right, Ray Thakhuli, thank you so much for joining me. 20 million international passengers, that's where you're headed back to, but now pivoting to also focus on bringing in more domestic travelers, more groups, and of course, more young people in South Africa to also travel and know their country. And it's an interesting thing that I think many other industries across the continent will be replicating. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a great day.
All right. And South Africa's tourism industry is one of the most developed across the continent. As I said, before the pandemic, welcoming some 20 million international travelers every single year, accounting for almost more than about 500,000 jobs and actively contributing to the country's GDP. And to see that recovery coming about is something that's definitely good for not just South Africa, but many in the tourism industry, because it means recovery is on the way. You're watching Business Edge. When we come back, we have NC4 to watch. Do stick around.